Alienation of affection. Hey, what's that all about? Well, it takes us to this week's case. It involves some folks in North Carolina. Now, North Carolina had an alienation of affections statute. And basically what that statute provides is that if there is a married couple and one of the people in that married couple has an affair with somebody else, the person who is left alone in that marriage can bring claim against the person who their spouse had an affair with. And when they bring that claim against the person who their spouse had an affair with, they can get money damages from that person. Okay, now not every state has this kind of a statute. There are only about a dozen in the country, but North Carolina has such a statute. And we had a fellow by the name of Mark Malachuk. Now, Mark obviously was a resident of North Carolina. He and his wife lived there. His wife was a nurse, and she was working for a Dr. Derek Williams. Now, Dr. Williams and, unfortunately, the wife of Mark Malachuk had an affair. Unfortunately, at least from the standpoint of Mark Malachuk. Mark became aware of this, and he brought claim under the North Carolina statute against the doctor, saying, you have caused the estrangement of my wife from our marriage. You have alienated her affections. You've damaged our marriage, and therefore I'm bringing claim against you, and I'm looking for money in exchange for the damage you caused to me. Okay, case goes forward, and the doctor, through his lawyers, then begins to argue, wait a second, this whole statute, the alienation against affection, is in fact unconstitutional because it is an abridgment of free speech. In this instance, you know what? We have a free country, we have a free state, we have the ability to express our affections for somebody, and if that culminates in sexual relationships between consenting adults, there's nothing wrong with that, and that is simple free speech. Okay, well, on the other side of this, Mark, through his lawyers, argued the state has a legitimate state interest. The state interest is to preserve marriage. Marriage is the bedrock of society, and one of the fundamental parts of marriage is fidelity. And the alienation of affection basically provides that when that bond is broken as a result of the efforts or actions by somebody else, well, there is a claim against that person. So, therefore, it is a legitimate state interest, and plus the fact it's not a big abridgment of free speech by virtue of the fact you can still express your affection for somebody else. It's the physical conduct that's a big issue here. All right, well, it went up to an appellate court in North Carolina, and there the appellate court listened to these arguments, and they came away and they said, we agree with Mr. Malachuk. We agree that there's a legitimate state interest here, that it is not a significant abridgment in the right to free speech, and accordingly, we find the law constitutional, and we find the suit against Dr. Williams can go forward. All right, we bring you this case. We bring cases every week, so you do understand how the law works. I'm David Allen.